Well, good morning, everyone. Today we have Austin Hellickson and obviously Sharif Hatab. Austin Hellickson is right now the top listing agent in the whole nation, and he's going to give us insightful tips on exactly what to do to get that many listings in today's market when it's the lowest real estate sales in the last 30 years. So, Austin, welcome to the podcast. Sharif, welcome. So, Austin, do you want to tell everybody about yourself?
Absolutely, yes. Thank you guys for the opportunity to jump on the podcast today, by the way. So, my name's Austin Hellickson. My team and I serve all of Washington State. Good old solid 22 years old, and we have a team of about 13 agents on our team. We have a decent-sized admin support staff behind us, which I'll probably get into a little bit later. And we're trying to plug away and sell more houses.
I can't believe it. I mean, Austin, how many houses did you list last year?
We signed just over 150 listings this last year.
God, wow, 150 listings. And is that you personally, or is that your team?
That's myself, and then the team did some additional ones on top of that.
Wow, that's crushing it. And you've got to have a system for like 150 listings. I mean, that's like a factory basically pumping out listings. I mean, how do you do it? I mean, how do you get the leads? How do you actually like work them? What is your process? What is your flow? How do you do it, man?
So as a team, we've really dove it down into three big sections that we need to think about, right? There's the lead generation aspect. There's following up the leads so then we can ultimately convert those leads. So start off on the lead generation aspect of things. We have a lot of different lead sources. We have triggered listings, leads like candy. Through the Red X, I get my FSBOs, canceled, expired listings. Just about any single lead source you can think of for sellers, we are using. And we just get as many leads as humanly possible because we know that by bulk majority will be able to convert those leads at a better opportunity.
And like, dude, these leads that come in, are you guys dialing them yourself? Do you have an ISA team? Like, what's the actual process to get in the door and basically get them signed? Because I mean, everyone gets leads, but how do you take it from lead stage to actually sign stage?
So I prospect myself 4 hours a day. And talking about the admin team, I have 2 full-time ISAs who make calls 8 hours a day, setting appointments for myself. So there's a lot of phone calls being made. The agents as well on my team, they're making phone calls for themselves. So we are a very heavy prospecting team. We have different Lofty. We've used Lofty as our CRM. And within Lofty, we have a single line dialer. I personally prefer single line dialer over 3-line dialers. There's benefits and cons to both. That's what I've personally just found that works best for myself.
Nice.
One is depending on the area of Washington that I'm calling, I'll use Google Voice through my cell phone number. Reason being, when I use Google Voice, I can get a different area code. So now I have 3 different area code phone numbers rather than just one through Lofty, which in turn will help my pickup rate in some more of these rural areas, knowing that if they see a Seattle phone number and they're in Eastern Washington, they're like, all right, this guy's not even from here. Why would I want to talk to him? But I can look into a local expert.
One of the things that I know, Austin, is there's a lot of myth, I guess, out there, and people want to just like hyper focus on their local area where they only want to get listings within like a 2 or 5 mile radius. They go door knocking and like postcards and all that stuff. But so, like, how far do you travel to get listing?
Let's see. Yesterday, actually on Saturday, I drove 2.5 hours away one direction, but I stayed at my folks' place in Eastern Washington, so it turned out to be a 4-hour drive back, 4.5 hour drive.
Wow.
And I'll start by saying this: I didn't get the listing, right? I'm not upset about it either. To be honest, I'm not upset because it was better for her to take a cash offer that she already had. Right. And I'm pretty transparent with that about people in person, that she's got, not to get too hyper specific on this example, her place is only worth $200,000 as she's very neck deep way up in the mountains. She has a cash offer for $150,000, right? So it's okay. That's, roughly 75% of market value. It's not going to sell at $200,000 because of how rural it is. So if she had to do a price reduction down to $175, what she probably would have to do, her net at the end of the day would be same as that cash offer. So it's worth it for her to explore that cash offer first, and then we put it on the market, assuming it doesn't work out. And by doing things like that, again, on these listing presentations, it'll help build up the confidence and the trust of these sellers that I'm working with. So that if and when this cash offer doesn't work out, like, oh, wow, Austin already told me that this probably wasn't going to work out and it didn't work out. Maybe I should have another conversation with him to see what's my best method to sell going forth.
What helped your confidence, Austin? I mean, obviously you're 22 years old, right? I mean, somebody coming into this business, brand new, getting that many listings in their first year. I mean, that's more than probably a big office combined. That's how many they got, by themselves. But like, how did you build that confidence, and what do you attribute your success to?
Failure.
I love that.
And what I mean by that is
Totally right, though.
not to go too far back. January 1st, 2022. It was a Saturday morning, and I was unlocking the office for my team to go in and make phone calls, specifically my seller callers. At this point, I'd just been working buyers. And I unlocked the door, and there's no one here to make phone calls. I'm like, is no one going to call expires? And there's like 1,300 leads that came in that day. So I like, all right, I guess I'll just dial them myself. So I dialed them, and that one January 1st, I set 12 listing appointments up. On those 12 listing appointments, I signed 0. And I'm like, this sucks. I never calling sellers again. This really sucks. And I literally remember sitting in my car, snow falling outside of this mobile home, hands white knuckling on the steering wheel, waiting for the seller to get there. And I'm shivering. My teeth are chattering because I'm just so nervous. Not out of being cold, but just out of nervousness. I go in there and I don't sign the listing. Fast forward to the end of that year, I'd finished out the year with 97 listings signed.
Wow. So what is it? Did you develop on your systems? Did you develop different scripts? Like what are the ways that you actually went from 0 listings and to actually get that confidence to make those phone calls initially? Because a lot of people just struggle with that part and take it to 97 listings by the end of the year. Like what changed? What happened there? I mean, that is a tremendous actual difference.
It came down to refining and setting proper expectations. You guys have heard the story before of me driving 7 hours one way for listing presentation. I literally had to stay there overnight because of how far away it was. And as I got to that house, I literally got kicked out of the house. I'm like, I'm never getting kicked out of another house unless it's on my terms, right? That said, I learned that I need to set proper expectations with sellers. I work with a ton of cash offer lead sources. What are they expecting cash on the phone call, right? Or that's what they're expecting from the website that connects us. If I go to that listing presentation and only talk about listing, they're going to be pretty upset, rightfully so, because they're expecting cash offers. So while I'm on the phone call setting the appointment, I'll set that expectation of cash offers are great. Here's why. Listing is a great method. Here's why. For you, based off of what you told me, listing is probably better. And here's why. Let's talk about listing your home. And then sounds great.
So you bring that up, on the phone.
You go in there with solutions, right? And basically we're in a solution-based business and present them everything that could fit their scenario and just let them choose what works best for them.
Yeah. I got a lady I met with yesterday of all things as well. She goes into foreclosure February 7th. So in 2 weeks from 2 days ago. And if she were to take a cash offer, she could probably net about 150 to 200 grand on her house because of the fast closing period. There's ways and things we can do to get that foreclosure stopped and postponed, even with 2 weeks notice. Hypothetically, if we put on the market for her, she would walk away with $500,000 after everything's paid off, right? So as we can explain these situations, will I make more money because I listed? Yeah, obviously. That said, she's going to double what she makes, most importantly. And she's going to have finances to be able to buy something in the future. And that's the most important thing that we can do, is help put these sellers in better positions for the financial future.
And then what do you do other than prospecting? I mean, like a lot of people would say, okay, you're driving 2 or 3 hours. Isn't that wasted time? Like you could have just booked something a little bit closer. So what do you say to those people?
You're not wrong. I very much easily could do things closer, but I wouldn't be getting on as many appointments. I wouldn't be signing as many listings either. To me, it's all about the learning experience behind it as well, right? Especially that very first year when I signed 97 listings, I probably had met with 200 sellers, if I had to guess. Not all of them signed listings. Not all of them ended up selling. Some of the listings I signed even canceled. But by virtue of meeting as many people as humanly possible, I got better, faster, And now when I'm on appointments, when they do end up listing, 9 times out of 10, I'm signing those listings.
See, this is the thing that I think a lot of people that are listening here should definitely take note of. You're not going to learn by just watching YouTube videos all day. It's by going to the appointments. And this is what you just said. You were focused on getting as many appointments as possible to get in front of people so you can learn, and you were taking it as a learning experience. And in return, it did work for you. Another thing I think you do, like, I don't believe you're working buyers and sellers at the same time.
Correct. I specialize.
Got it. Because then at that point, it helped you focus only on how to get seller leads and sign seller leads. And it's just two different personality types, right? Like, you have to be a different person when you're working with a buyer versus a seller, right? Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So, I mean, you're definitely a lot more of a nurturing type of person when you work with buyers. I'm not so nurturing per se. I'm still a nice guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm still a nice guy. I don't have the patience for that. I don't have the patience to look at this beautiful kitchen. Look at this bathroom. I'm like, okay, it's a kitchen. Okay, it's a bathroom. Awesome. Here's the paperwork. Sign here. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very much more a direct person when it comes to that. And if you're more of a nurturing person, by all means, you'll probably have a lot more success with working with buyers. That said, if you have less patience like myself and probably like yourself, to where, you're just kick the door down, make them sign the paperwork kind of a person, right? It's two very different personality types. That said, you still can have success on both with enough discipline by doing the work.
So true. I mean, but discipline when doing the work, one of the disciplines you do have that you mentioned is you make calls for 4 hours a day. 4 hours. So what time are you making those calls? Who are you calling? And what are your common scripts, say, for the cash offers you're working, or a FSBO or an expired? I'm going to guess doing 4 hours a day, you're getting a lot of practice doing it over and over again, right? So what are the answers to those questions, Austin?
So to start off, my average day per se in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, I'll get to my office. Whether I have meetings 6:30 to 7:30, or I'm working on systems, technology, etc. for our team. 7:30 to 8 a.m., that's our team huddle. So we're reporting on our numbers from the day before, checking in, do our agents need anything to have success that day, etc. 8 a.m., to your point, Sharif, that's when I start pounding the phones. We can only legally make phone calls 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. So I bang out my 4 hours of phone calls first thing in the morning. Because it's called like it is. It's not the most enjoyable thing to do, right? But if we don't start our day with it, then it's not going to happen in general. So 8 a.m. to noon, that's when I'm making my phone calls. When it comes to the scripting, expireds are the very first calls that I make of the day. And it's pretty simple scripting, right? And I hate using scripting because, yes, you have to start it off with a script to be able to get better at it. Once you understand the verbiage and the flow of the call, I like to think more as an outline, right? That we're using script outlines, because as we use these outlines, then we're having more human conversation rather than saying, okay, perfect. Sharif said this. Now I'm going to go to this next question. Now I'm going to go to this next question. No, we're talking to humans on the phone, and they'll be able to sniff that out, and they're not going to want to talk to you because of that.
Perfect. I love that. That's exactly how we train our ISAs. You actually train our ISAs every Tuesday, right? But that's perfect. I mean, you have to have these human conversations with people. But like generally speaking, like opening up like your pitch, is it a common pitch that you're having just to help the people out there? Say with like an expired, or as we transition to try to prospect those type of leads.
So if you're calling expireds, my favorite expired script. Hey, is this the owner of 123 Main Street? Right? Just very simple, because it's going to ask them, yes, who is this? They may say no, but it's also going to spark curiosity and keep them on the phone call. They don't know if I'm an agent. They don't know if I'm a plumber that might have done work to their house. They don't know if it's the city calling, right? They have no clue who's calling at this point. Awesome. I apologize. This is Austin. I actually own the Hellickson team at Skyline Properties. Does my team name ring a bell to you? And I asked that, does my team name ring a bell? Because again, now at this point, they might be thinking, did Austin do a showing for my house? Did Austin see something go wrong? This, that, the other, right? There's many different things that could be going through their mind. No, your name doesn't ring a bell to me. No worries. I saw your house came off the market this morning, marked as unsold. Are you still interested in selling at this point? Then you're going to get one of two answers. Yep or nope. And at that point, you can just continue the conversation as a human conversation, right? No. Why aren't you interested in selling anymore? What happened? right? Or you are still interested in selling. Great. It looks to be a beautiful place from what I can see online. What do you think it didn't sell when it was on the market in the first place? Then they're going to give you their list of excuses of, oh, well, my agent sucked and they didn't do the marketing, this, that, the other, etc. Great. Why don't I do that marketing for you to make you happy? Okay, sign here, right? Because it's easy at that point to get in the door, and because you're already getting their objections over the phone, right? They're telling you that Austin did do an open house. Austin had crooked pictures. There was no flyers in the flyer box. They're giving you their excuses. So all you would have to do is to say, guess what? I'll put a sign and have flyers in the flyer box. I'll do open houses and I'll take better pictures. Wow, that'd be amazing, right? And then now you're the star agent that solved all their issues that they had. But above everything else, they don't want their house sold, right? That's what you need to accomplish at the end of the day.
Nice. So what's your goal? Like, how many appointments are you trying to book a day?
My goal is 2 appointments a day, 2 to 3 consistently. I found that when I set too many appointments, it's of course a good problem to have. They just stop showing up, right? That then my no-show rate dramatically increases, and then my number of listings that week will drop down.
Yeah, I definitely get that. You too, Peter, right? We've talked about that in the past. It's like if you book them way too far out there, your actual no-show and your cancellation rate is going to skyrocket. But the sweet spot, I think, is like 3 to maximum 5 days out. That's almost too much pushing it. And you'll start to feel a drop off at that. But I mean, 2, maybe 3 appointments a day is really the goal that I have, just to try to keep up, like, with the amount of listings that we do pump out as well. But I mean, with that being said, when you're signing the listings, what happens after?
So after we sign the listings, I scan all the paperwork electronically to my team and to myself. I type in the house number, the city name. The team takes care of everything else from there. So we have very specific procedures as well. And we also give it to the seller saying, congratulations, we're super excited to work with you. Here's what to expect next. Comes down to the team's going to reach out to you. The team's going to give you an introductory phone call saying we're excited to work with you as a team. They're going to be coordinating photos, right? And again, everything that I'm mentioning, the admin team does, not myself. If I were to be focusing on those things, it wouldn't be done as well, number one. And number two, I wouldn't be as efficient with my time. My time is spent making phone calls and going on appointments. The admin team takes care of the signs, the flyers, the open houses, the pictures, etc. I sign the listing, I ensure the key box is on when it goes on the market, and I get the key from the sellers. Other than that, admin team takes care of everything on the back end.
And what about the actual appointment itself? Do you have a specific process when you enter that door to actually make sure that you get this listing signed? And do you overqualify your listing appointments since you're taking so many now? Do you try to make sure that they're actually going to go ahead and sign on the spot before you go out?
Well, to that last question, it depends on who's asking. No, I would never qualify any of my appointments. Joking aside, to an extent, I'm going to say no, because if they have an interest in selling, I'll still meet with them to have a conversation with them, right? Just like that appointment I had yesterday. I had a gut feeling they weren't going to sign on the appointment because she already had cash offers, she's already met with another agent, etc. I'm glad that I didn't get that listing because the cash offer is better for her, right? And I told her that. So I do qualify some. If I know without a question, they're like, I'm not selling, like, in an ever, I may not go on that appointment. That makes sense.
Especially if it's 2 hours away, you want to make sure all the decision makers are there, right?
And to that point as well, I'll group my appointments going the same direction, right? So for example, again, on Friday, I had 3 appointments scheduled that were all 3 hours away from myself. But I grouped them back to back to back so I could just do those appointments and I could just go right back home and not worry about going back again.
Got it.
But when it comes to the actual appointment itself, I don't like to overcomplicate things by any means. I think I have one of my packets in here with me. It's pretty self-explanatory in terms of, I keep things pretty basic. I don't care if it's a $3 million house or if it's a $30,000 mobile home. My presentation is the same, right? Obviously, I might use different verbiage to explain different things in different ways, but this is just an actual packet that I bring on my appointments when I use for Seller and Graham. It's just a single-page checklist, black and white. Obviously, you can see there's some highlighter on there. A copy of the old what's it called?
Listing.
MLS.
Yeah, the MLS agent detail, black and white copy of tax records, and then ultimately the very last page is just a single line CMA, right? Nothing fancy. And that's what I bring on every single appointment. And again, by consistency and by having the same thing done every single time, I don't have to think about the back end things, right? And oh, by the way, I don't make those packets either. One of our team members makes those markets for me as well. So the very first time I will ever see these comps is when I'm sitting at the table with the sellers.
Wow. That's really good. I mean, you have, it looks like you're systemized. You're very systemized. Everything is done to the T, and you have people that you can delegate to take the next steps. And I guess, where did you learn this stuff from?
My amazing real estate coach, Sharif, who's on here as well. I mean, my dad taught me a ton, Michael Hellickson. I mean, again, driving to my very first listing presentation, I was watching his listing presentation video in my car, trying not to swerve out of the lane so I could learn how to sign listings. And I could have signed that listing, but there's other excuses I had too why I didn't sign it. That said, I watched this video a ton. I watched it back to back to back to back to back. And by virtue of watching his listing presentation video, having the exact same checklist that he used, I've been able to have that success on signing so many listings. And I follow his entire back-end process as well.
Amazing. Well, also, I mean, congrats on all your success. It's definitely very inspiring for any new agent or existing agent. I mean, there's so many people that are struggling today. And what's like one last piece of advice that you would give to anybody that's struggling?
Keep at it. That's the biggest thing I can say is keep at it. In terms of no matter what you're doing, there's going to be business to have had, right? That this year, and I tell this to sellers all the time when they're skeptical about how the market's doing, right? Washington State as an example, we've lost like 2,000 or 3,000 agents over the past couple of years. That said, November to November, we're up over 17% in number of pending transactions. Every single time there's been a presidential election, whether a blue president or a red president is won, number of sales has gone up between 5 to 8% from what I've seen online. On that note, there's going to be so much more business to have had this year, as long as you stay consistent and as long as you put the work in.
Awesome. That's cool. So Austin, where are you exactly located? So people, if they wanted to, refer you some business or find you.
So my team and I, we cover all of Washington State.
Nice. And how would we find you?
So to find us, find me on Facebook, Austin Hellickson, or you can Google the Hellickson team at Skyline Properties and we'll be up there.
Awesome.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks for jumping on, Austin. It was definitely great talking to you. And looking forward to seeing how this year is going to turn out for you.
Thanks so much, guys. Best of success to you too.
Thanks a lot. Take
care.
care.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.